can also be found at Twitter at Orlen. And with that, we are ready for our next run. Everyone get ready for Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime Any Percent by with ref417.
Go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am super excited to be showing this run off for you all. So really quick on the names. Unfortunately, we actually don't have the ability to put in numbers. It's kind of a little bit of an oversight. We're very sorry about that. The character limit is 8, so we have Squall 3 with 3 eyes in Roman numerals. I hope that's sufficient, but I believe that'll be our file name for this game. But yeah, Rif-san, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, now Rocket Slime Any Percent Speedrun, commentated by GhostKumo. It's a 3 count. 3? Okay, countdown?
はい。
Okay, はい。お願いします。
です。
Okay, 3, 2, 1, start!
Oh boy. Hello everybody, so this is Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime, aka Slime Mori Mori 2 for the Nintendo DS. So, if you're unfamiliar with this particular game, this is a... Wow, that is coming in quite loud for me. So this is a top-down adventure spin-off of the Dragon Quest series. See if he gets the glitch here. Unfortunately, no. So the story behind this game is you play as this cute little slime. In Japanese, his name is Surarin. In English, he is known as Rocket. This game has nothing to do with the Dragon Quest Heroes games, if you're familiar with the Dynasty Warriors-like Muso-type games that they made. But it is... it's like a top-down, kind of closer to like a Zelda-type game than an RPG the series is known for. But basically, the idea behind it was they were going to make a game kind of like a world of Dragon Quest with no humans, which is a little bit funny because the slimes are usually your like weak enemy, and here they're the star of the show. Anyways, so our story is we play as Rocket, aka Surarin, and we live in this kingdom called Slimenia. And here we are just hanging out with our friends, and our hooligan Healy Slime, Hooli, he took a sacred relic out of the castle that he wasn't supposed to. And that is actually the, it's this very important flute that, the flute of, we'll get to what it does later, but what ends up happening is we win it in a little contest after we beat Hooli's time at clearing out leaves, and blow on it, and then that summons this band of platypunks, or Mamonja for the older names of them. They're going to be called the platypunks, but they're part of this agency called the Tail Gang, or the Plob, or short for Platypus Mob, or Platypunk Mob in this game. And as soon as we blow the flute, immediately everyone in the area is alerted, and they come in, ransack our town, just completely blow it up with their giant 50-foot tall tank, kidnap everyone in the kingdom, except for us, because Rocket, as soon as he blew the flute, naturally the guard, which is our dad, Big Daddy, he heard it, he was like, who blew the flute? And the warrior flute. It was like blanking on the name, because I know it has so many other names. But he hears the sound, comes rushing outside, is like, who played the flute? But Rocket actually, you know, Hooli hit it in Rocket's mouth, stretching him out, and so the Plob thought he was just like a baseball bat, like a stick or something, and so they just chucked him out. And now everyone in the kingdom has basically been kidnapped, and they've been locked away in these treasure boxes, which means that we need to set them free. There are 100 of them in total that you need to go around saving, and in any percent, we only save 50 because that's the bare minimum that we need to make progress in the game. Technically, this category does not see to the end credits, but it is effectively the any percent, the defeat final boss category. Anyways, this game is hilarious. It is so charming. I actually know a surprising amount of people who love this game and have never played another Dragon Quest game. But it just has that kind of just natural charm and appeal to it. Anyway, these guys just kind of leave these like chests with slimes locked inside that we go around. And I haven't really even touched too much on Rocket's kit. Okay. So Rocket can do what's called an elastoblast, which is where you press the A button, move forward, and then he stretches and he kind of slingshots himself. And that's actually the fastest form of movement in this game. You move optimally about, you want to hold it for about 50 frames or 5/6 of a second. But that is the fastest form of movement in this game. A thing that is key about this game is it's actually a very collection-heavy game. Naturally, we break out the slimes, and we collect them, and we throw them onto the cart. But the other things that we're going to want to do, you saw that he opened up a treasure chest, and then threw the empty treasure chest onto the cart. You need to collect a certain amount of things, because later on in the game, we're going to unlock alchemy. And alchemy is what you use to combine certain objects. This game has a lot of basis in Dragon Quest VIII, which we will be seeing on the schedule a little bit later. And in fact, actually, the alchemy pod is a direct reference to that. But one important thing here is if you carry anything into a cutscene, certain cutscenes that like initiate end of story scenarios or whatever actually will take whatever you have on your head with you. So in this case, he had 2 treasure chests. And they were all now teleported back into his resource pool. So we saved 3 slimes here in this first day. And that's really all that you can do. This whole section is pretty scripted. But yeah, those chests are going to be very useful later once we get alchemy. I love the soundtrack of this game. I know Dragon Quest has kind of like a bit of a polarizing history with its music. Some people will say that it's really like immersive. Some people will say the melodies aren't quite as catchy. To them, I will say that I think this game has some of the catchiest melodies you will find in any game in this series. So I really like the town theme of Boingburg here. It's so catchy and so upbeat. Okay. I can still hear him mashing a lot. So this is a note. In any case, sorry about that. So in any case, what he has just unlocked is the church, and that is where you go to save. The overworld theme, by the way, is from Dragon Quest Monsters 2. There's all kinds of remixes in this game from various different tracks across the Dragon Quest franchise. But yeah, a lot of this game is about collections. So you can actually like take out enemies and you can grab things and all that. But you also want to throw it onto these carts, which will take it back to town, the town of Boingburg. And you kind of see him doing some little optimizations here where he'll charge and then throw an item onto the cart there. Like, there's all kinds of little optimizations with this game with learning when and where to throw things and all that. A thing to note is that Rocket's carrying capacity is always 3, so he can always have 3 things above his head at once. It's right there, just a little cheeky toss of the bomb rock. Bomb rocks you throw around and they explode on impact, and that is how you like break destructible objects if you can't destroy them with an elastoblast. You can also shuffle what's on your head by pressing the L and R buttons, and Reef is going to want to... So he's going to do an optimization there where he charges up an elastoblast to throw one of the bomb rocks and then pick up the other one in the same time. Like, there's a ton of these little optimizations that really separate like the top runners of this game. And we actually want a few bomb rocks for literally the end of the game. These are going to be very handy for reasons we'll get to once we get there. Since he can't carry anything, the Draki here is just going to land on the ground. The carts can carry up to 4 different things. So this whole little detour here is to pick up 2 additional slimes that are kind of hidden away, and then also pick up some bomb rocks, because we want as many breakable objects as possible. It helps that bomb rocks are going to be very useful once we unlock this game's secondary form of combat. So currently it's kind of like a Zelda game. Your Elastoblast, where Rocket stretches his face, is also a damage dealing ability. And so here we're coming up on the first boss, Bow Beater, or Bow Beater. I don't know how you pronounce that word. But you can kind of just repeatedly spam Elastoblast right directly in his face sideways, and it doesn't bounce you. It bounces you to the side rather than backwards, so you can get a lot quicker hits here. So very, very easy boss. I mean, meant to be a kind of like a little tutorial here. There's a lot of interesting little optimizations we've come up with over the years for boss fights in this game. So as the boss of this area, he is guarding an important slime, which is specifically the King of Slimenia. His Royal Wobbliness. This was around the time that Dragon Quest really started leaning into the puns in translation. So he's playing on the English version. It is slightly slower. A few enemies work a little differently, but it's not like a big time loss, but it is like a slightly different version of the game. One of the differences that doesn't really make an impact, but is kind of interesting, is the sound effects in the English version are actually a little bit different. So it is funny. Sometimes you'll save you'll save a slime and you'll hear this like deep voice sample of like yeah. But anyways, here he's dodging the bomb rocks being fired out of the 50-foot Platypanzer, I believe is what this tank is called. And just trying to escape back home. I don't know why the tank doesn't attack us at home again, but, you know, the game would be over. Anyways, so now he's just finally saved the king, and that is day 2 down. So we're up to 7 out of the 50 slimes. A lot of the routing in this game is trying to get as many slimes that are in the way as possible, as well as if we ever do have to make any detours, that they minimize time loss or that they're useful for something else. There is one secondary use for saving slimes that we'll get to later, but mostly it's just like trying to find the optimal 50 out of the first, like, I'm going to say like you can get to about 66 or so before the area that we need to get to. But that's the end of the first area, Forward Forest. And next up we have the Tomb of Tutankhamun, aka, like, you know, a pun here of referencing Tomb of Tutankhamun, or King Tut. The king here gives us additional health. Anytime you get these Yggdrasil seeds, they give you increased max health. We're going to go with the absolute minimum the game will give us because overworld combat is rarely a threat. But there is an additional form of combat that we'll get to very soon. So, kind of touch a little bit on the speedrun history of this particular game. So this game hadn't really received much routing back in the day. I ended up routing this game back in like 2016.
It's a very difficult point.
Yeah, so I ended up routing this game back in like 2016. And we, in the last 10 years, it's just been like a big collaborative effort of a whole bunch of people. Reef has also put in a lot of this. A Japanese runner by the name of Cha Megane contributed a lot to this run. There's a Russian runner by the name of Purple Toki. And there's been a few others that it's like, names are eluding me right now, and I'll probably get to them at some point in the run. So here, actually, what he's doing is picking up 3 of these obelisks here. Because of the way they line up is a little tricky. Unfortunate. It's hard to get all 6 of them that you want. Here we're seeing Riff is going into an important cutscene. Because you won't be carrying things into cutscenes, it automatically sends them back to town. But we need those obelisks, similar to the reason we need rock bombs, because they break. Anyway, this NPC here, his name is...
Speedrunners.
Yeah.
Recovery point.
Yeah, so the runner here is... So the slime here, the platypunk here with the funny glasses, his name is Ductor Sid. So this was around the time that Square merged with Enix, so I want to believe it is a Final Fantasy reference that they actually name a character here, Sid. Shoutouts to the Sid, by the way. So he's picking up a couple of treasure chests here, and he's also trying to carry these bombshells wherever he can, because they take a little bit to spawn, and you need to fire them into the various cannons. Also in Tutankhamun is these little fast waterways that are like the fastest form of movement. So a lot of this run is really about just optimizing where you put things. There's a neat little optimization here because the game kind of wants you to move the minecart all the way down to the left, but you only have to take it about halfway. And the the bombshell will break through this rubble on the ground. So take that while he's waiting for that sandcastle, the sand dune to blow up. He takes the other bomb shell, and yeah, now it's just see all these tiny little optimizations of where resources are when they spawn and everything. And then just always carrying things on his head when he knows that he can get a little bit of an optimization out of it. All right, so now we have saved Sid, and it's kind of funny. This game being its little usual charming self. After being set free, Sid notices our warrior flute has been damaged, and he decides to tape it back up. And it's like, okay, now let's test it now that it works again. Blowing it in the presence of that giant sandcastle has revealed that the sandcastle is, in fact, a giant tank. So we do actually have a prize of the slime tank, and we'll get to that in a little bit here. So this is the Schleimen tank in the English version. I don't remember everything's name in Japanese.
It's a surprise.
Surprise!
Surprise car.
Anyways, so immediately a letter floats down telling Sid that he's been fired from the plot, so he is now currently distraught. But we get to go inside and check out our new fit. So this 50-foot tall behemoth, the Schleimen tank, is actually going to be our main means of doing battle in these big epic tank battles. So this whole section is going to be the tutorial for the tank battle. Sid is just kind of checking out the place, and this is going to teach us kind of what all we can do. So this bottom screen and the screen to the left are where ammo is going to spawn. Ammo can be loaded up into your tank, and you can chuck it into one of these two cannons that you see here on the in the cockpit. The upper cannon will fire on the top screen, which you can see to the left of what is the bottom screen, and that shows you where the ammo is going. The upper cannon takes slightly longer to fire, but you'll end up intercepting ammo that is that was fired out of the respective tank that you are that you fired out of. So we need to do 50 points of damage here. The rocks do 3.
Oh, it's a nice BZM.
Yeah, so he's hoping for some...
It's a bird coup?
Yeah, so he's hoping for some bombshells here. You see, because his carrying capacity is only 3, he's going to be kind of just chucking things into the cockpit wherever. And he's really hoping to see some bombshells, because bombshells do 8 damage, whereas the boulders only do 3. So looking for any additional damage that he can get. But since this is just a tutorial section and the boulder is not going to fight back, this would be a good enough time for donations. If you got any reads, Natara?
Absolutely. We have some of both. Let's get to some of the donation reads. We have $10 from an anonymous donor. Thank you so much for that. And we also have $5 from an anonymous donor. And donating goes towards an amazing cause, which we'll talk about in a moment. But as was mentioned earlier, we have some amazing prizes, including there is a beautiful art of the tank that's being fought, maybe this exact one. It is gorgeous. For a minimum $20 donation, you can be entered in to win that prize made by the amazing Drake Lake. So thank you for that.
All right, so we're back in Boingburg. Done that little tutorial there. So you really just need to do the 50 HP of damage there. So what Reef's now doing is going into the slime letters. Every slime that you save...
Inverter time.
Yeah, every slime that you save gives...
or Bombolator. And Pillars Desolator.
Yeah, every one of these items that he gives you is rock bombs, obelisks, or bombshells. Bombshells just happen to fire fast, because the thing I haven't touched on is different ammo actually fires at different speeds. Some of it is very slow, some of it is very fast, some of it's kind of like a medium speed. and it does matter. Admittedly, we kind of try to circumvent damage, like ammo speed, as much as we can.
Sorry, slimes.
Yeah, so as we try to leave, the Platypunks have noticed that we have our own giant tank now, and they're kind of ticked off at us for everything that we've been doing to stop their evil plans. And they're actually looking for the flute, but we don't exactly know why yet. All that we know is that the big bad of the game, the boss of the Platypunks, desperately wants to find it. Anyways, the tank battle theme, as Reef said earlier, is kind of a genuine banger. So here we're getting into our first actual tank fight. The thing about this fight is that the Platypunk here actually, I believe, always fires out of the either this one or the next one. It's been a while since I reviewed it. Will fire out of the one particular cannon the entire fight. So he's just going to be firing out of the lower cannon for faster fire, and then hopefully meets as little response fire as possible. He doesn't have the ability to update his tank ammo as tank arsenal just yet, but we will get that very soon. So yeah, so just with some convenient timing, you heard the enemy tank fire, and the ammo flew just like after Reef's ammo landed. So even though ammo is fired out of the bottom or top cannon, if they're close enough to where the cannon is on the top screen, it'll intercept no matter what. So Reef just knows that he has enough damage here that will finish the Platypunk's tank. And then the next thing that you do, once you reduce your enemy's tank to HP to 0, is you need to go and invade their tank, because now their engine room in the back is exposed. Once you do that, if you Elastoblast the engine, which is literally shaped like a giant heart, that is what ends the tank fight. Oh my goodness, he jumped into his own cannon. This game is so silly.
Oh!
Nice. Ah, unfortunate. Okay, so yeah, there's 3 of these barriers that you have to break through. Rock bombs actually have this weird property where you throw one and it breaks through a series of those, so you don't have to chuck as many things. And it's a slightly faster way to get through engine room. It's not like a huge deal, but it saves a little bit of time. Chucking the rock bomb just breaks the entire sequence of the glass barriers rather than just one at a time. So it means that your run is blessed when you get a bomb rock in that particular fight. All right, so now Sid is set up shop and gives you the ability to upgrade ammo. So what Reef's going to do is just remove everything and then just click auto load, and he picks basically the sets of ammo that do the most damage. Usually he will try to insert a few additional support ammo. We don't have that yet, but at this point in the run, it just happens to be the best set of ammo that we really have. That is an Oaken Club that is 15 damage and just generally pretty solid. So that'll be useful a little bit later. So he's going to make a very quick return to Forwood Forest, and the reason is that the slimes that are most convenient to get, there's 3 or 4 additional slimes that just happen to be a little bit more convenient to make a detour back to here to grab. Otherwise, we would have to do a lot more combat and annoying stuff in later areas to get to our requisite 50. Namely, a lot of slimes are actually locked behind individual tank battles. Every tank battle in this game, except for a handful.
Oh, Chester!
Oh no. Yeah, every tank battle in this game gets you one additional slime. So this area is sealed off. You're not supposed to be able to get here until after returning to this place after you get the slime tank, because now you can actually initiate the tank battles that are set up in this area. That matters more for 100 slime than it does for any percent. But yeah, this area is just dealing with these mine carts and saving 4 slimes, but it's relatively standard gameplay of what you all have seen so far. So Natara, if you got anything for us, go ahead.
I am here all day, everybody. And by all day, I mean for this run. Yeah, let's talk about our wonderful charity that we're here and supporting. We are supporting NAMI, or the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They're the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization. NAMI provides advocacy, education, support, and public awareness to improve the lives of all individuals and families affected by mental illness. NAMI exists to ensure that no one is alone on their mental health journey. And these days, so important. So every bit that you can help us with, whether it's donating, whether it's watching the stream, whether it's sharing the stream for other people to watch, everything helps. So thank you for being here with us.
And thank you, Natara. Picking up one more Oaken Club here, and then making a trip back to the minecart, just because things happen to work out timing-wise. You have to kind of break some stuff. Okay, this is actually a slightly different route than the one that I'm used to. So here he's just taking everything on his head all at once, which means that it's all going back to town. Anyways, that section is kind of like basically optional, but it just happens to be faster for the sake of the route. So now back to Tutenschleimer's Tomb, and Tutenschleimer's Tomb, we actually pretty much get everything here. So little optimization on the stairs. You actually want to go up diagonally, because if you try and go up horizontally, it's a little tricky. So once again, picking up any of the... That is such a nice little optimization, just using the Elastoblast in that particular way to align Rocket to actually hit both of the...
Oh! No problem.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal. We just want as many breakable things for endgame as possible, and that's because like endgame combat is like really important, and we're going to be trying to minimize as much ammo collection as possible. So you can actually get this slime earlier, it's just faster to do it now. But yeah, you see all these varieties of different slimes that, most of these, I believe, debuted or appeared at first in the Dragon Quest Monsters series. But I kind of just love all the various different slime designs they use for this game. And there's just a whole bunch of these optimizations of knowing when... how to maneuver around and picking up the bombshells as soon as possible so that you can actually skip little movement sections. So before he takes this off, though, he's going to pick up the one little slime here and then grab throw it to knock the bomb rock onto the cart, and then try to get the other bomb rock if he can. Unfortunate, but they respawn really fast, so it's only a very minor time loss. And so there he's just blowing up the sand dune. He's going to come back and pick it up later. What was behind the sand dune. But here we're getting into a tank battle with another Platypanzer, and this one actually introduces one of the other mechanics, which is crew members. The enemy has a crew member, but we do not. They're just additional hands on deck who help you throw more things into the cannons. The obelisks do pretty decent damage for this portion of the game. The bomb rocks do like 16, which is really, really good. They don't fire super fast. Unfortunately, these battles are a little bit luck dependent. You have to hope the enemy AI doesn't time their ammo right before it hits your tank. So there, he lost he lost like 23 damage worth there because of the way the enemies were firing their ammo. Hopefully this bomb rock lands and he doesn't have to worry about it. Unfortunate. So tank combat, you can see, can be a little bit luck dependent. He had a rock bomb, but it got destroyed. Unfortunate. So he's just gonna take Okay.
Oh.
Unlucky. Okay. So So he was hoping what he could do there is okay, now he's just making sure that it's all going to connect.
Not.
Oh, he jumped out. They really are not letting Reef have this one.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is super unlucky.
Really?
Yeah, they just keep intercepting his ammo, so that is very, very unlucky. We have ways of dealing with this as the run goes on. So if that's enough damage, after the first fight in which you're scripted with instructions, it is generally faster to fire your ammo out of your tank. When you know you have the sufficient damage number, you can just leave your tank, head over to the enemy tank, and then right as it's set to run out, then like their barricades will be down. You can go in and just finish the job a little bit quicker. So it's there's kind of these little optimizations where you kind of know how much to be done. But unfortunately, Reef just got really unlucky with enemy retaliatory fire.
Oh.
This cacti ball is just this cacti ball is going to be kind of a excuse the pun, a thorn in our side by just repeatedly showing up as a crew member. Oh,
come back.
That's another thing that can happen. The advanced text button is the B button. It is also the throwing things button. So here Reef is picking up a few more bomb rocks and grabbing the and tossing the slime that he picked up behind the sand dune. Just kind of trying to maximize his resource gain for the early game when you actually have these bomb rocks. And then holding onto this bombshell a little bit early so he doesn't have to wait to grab it on this screen here. And then resetting the room just to change the behavior of the cannon so that that one is always going to be right where he needs it to destroy the sand dune. Also, there's mimics in this game. But they're not really too much.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, interesting. So throw the bombshell when he can. He's going to go into the, he's going to wait till he hears the sound of the sand dune being struck, jump in there, and that's going to create a shortcut so that the next time that he enters this area, the Tomb of Tutenschlamen, the next time he enters this area, he can just take that to get back to this screen because this area is like a 3-day area, and after this particular fight is he's basically going to have to start from the beginning of this area. So just setting up that shortcut is really nice. So this fight here with the Persecutor tank, it's
playtime.
it's playtime.
The cat. I'm gonna surprise.
So the jail cats, their gimmick is actually they're invaders. Some tank crew have a AI programming where what their job is to do is to go inside your tank and annoy you / break your machines. The little machines that you see around the area, when those are broken, ammo comes out.
Hi, bomb.
Ammo comes out on fire, and when ammo comes out on fire, like you can't pick it up for a little bit until it cools off.
Ooh.
So, thankfully, they can't really do that much damage, at least not the jail cats. So, Reef's just kind of gonna let him just mess around.
Cat. Oh, cat.
You can also just whack him, and it gets rid of him. When you run this game enough, you kind of come to learn how enemy ammo, or how your ammo generally spawns.
Oh.
So you kind of come to learn the patterns of like how to navigate your ship to effectively, how to navigate your tank to effectively
Please.
optimize for ammo
Please.
pickup.
Oh.
Okay, he was hoping that the enemy wouldn't respond with return fire there. Yeah, now he's just making extra sure that there is no chance that...
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll do enough damage. He's going to head over to the enemy's tank. Definitely been getting unlucky with the enemy retaliatory fire in this game. This is
Let's
probably
go.
the
Enemy
most,
tank.
probably the most like luck-dependent part of the run. Oop, rock bomb. This is actually going to be nice.
I love to this item. Ooh!
Because like here you see the enemy tank has like 8 of those barricades, and you have to bounce off of every single one of them. And it is quite slow. Like, it takes quite a few seconds. So getting a rock bomb and just being able to break that entire barricade with one toss is like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 seconds, I'd say. It's pretty nice.
My mental cares right now.
So this fella here is Slimeborg. He joins Sid's shop, and what his whole thing is, he increases the max HP of your tank. We are never going to use this because it is actually for the benefit of your speedrun to have as little HP as possible. Despite the fact that we have the ability to upgrade, we don't want to. So now he can just go in and get slightly better ammo. He's picked up a few Oaken Clubs, a lot of rock bombs. So yeah, that's a lot more damage that he's going to be able to output in the next tank battle. So while we're making our way back to Tumatuten Tara, if you got anything?
I've been waiting for you to ask. So this is not our only run. Surprise everyone, there's going to be more runs after this one, which is sad because honestly, this run's amazing. It's so cute. But some of those upcoming runs have incentives. Through everyone's amazing generosity, we have already met the incentive for the next run, which is Get in the Car Loser. Definitely do not miss that run. But following that, we have a Final Fantasy VIII run. And oh my goodness, folks, do we have some incentives for you. We have 2 naming incentives. We get to name Squall. Shortly thereafter, we get to name Renoa. So, those are decently open. Squall currently only has 1 name, which is Philip, currently standing at $131. Renoa, however, a little more open. Currently in the lead with $20 is Squall 2. Shortly behind is Hot Dogs at $16. However, it's not just naming incentives we've got. We also have the option to fight the Seal Guardians. So how this one's going to work is for every $250 that we earn, another Seal Guardian in Ultimatia's palace will be fought. Currently, we have $690 out of a max of $1,750. So we've already got 2 Seal Guardians. We're nicely on our way to a 3rd. Y'all, let's get some donations in and start working on those while we're wrecking tanks with our amazing slime.
Something to touch on. So you can see that he's actually like able to knock enemies onto the cart, which is funny on its face. But there actually is a thing you can do in this game, because eventually after this area, we're going to be able to get our own crew. And one of the really cool things about this game is if you collect 30 of an enemy, they will actually be able to join your crew once you meet them at the museum, which you'll unlock pretty soon. That is obviously very slow, so we don't do that in any of the speedrun categories, except for the non-existent 100% category, which I believe some people have theorized a few times. Anyway, this edgy-looking Shadow the Slime Hog here, his name is Slivel. The name is very much on the nose, but we will be seeing him a little bit more. Anyways, this is probably the most luck-dependent fight in the entire game, because they have 2 crew members that just love to fire ammo at you, and it's very slow iron balls. that just kind of linger in the air for an extremely long time. If you know the enemy is going to fire against you, you generally want all of your ammo to go into the same cannon, because then it is less likely to be neutralized, like, completely. Operative word there is less and not entirely. It does matter the firing speed. Again, the bombshells, the little or the metal bullets that you see him firing, do have the fastest natural firing speed. Something to actually touch on that's going to matter a lot more later, but it is fairly significant now. When a tank item is destroyed, it basically removes it from your pool, and this game kind of, in a very roundabout way, works like a deck builder, which means when you use all of the ammo that is in your ship, it kind of cycles back into a new set of 30. So that means that, like, when ammo is destroyed, it actually sends the game, cues to the game to send the next set of ammo. But, like, say you have, like, one Oaken Club or whatever, that's not going to show up until, like, the next set of 30 items. So breaking items in your ship actually causes them to spawn a little faster. The enemy firing out of the tank there is actually kind of lucky. He can go around the tank and be a nuisance, but if the cacti ball there is inside your tank, it means he is not in the enemy tank firing at you. So, so he's just going to chuck it right back to intercept enemy ammo and just kind of make himself useless. A little thing to touch on, he kind of wants to be careful elastoblasting when into any screens, because there's a weird little bug that can happen if you, like, elastoblast right onto a loading zone where it'll just kind of bounce you backwards. Okay, so he actually got pretty lucky with this particular fight. The enemy ammo, like, was not constantly intercepting him at an abnormal rate, and he even has 2 rock bombs spawn that he's able to take into the enemy tank at the right time, which means that he can just use them to break the barriers here. The engine room layouts are different depending on the tank, and having 2 out here actually is really, really nice because he can break through 2 sets of barriers, so that was an incredibly lucky fight. Also, we get the BS Cruise missile. I don't necessarily know what those 2 letters stand for in this game. They're just really effective missiles. They fire at, like, the same rate as the bombshell, and they do like 26 damage. So that is basically his best ammo right now. Anyway, here's Slivel just being cool. His helmet apparently weighs 10 slime tons, which the lifting capacity of an average slime is 1 ton. Because we have hero powers, Squall 3 has, appropriately enough, 3 slime ton lifting capacity. I seem to have misspoken earlier. We do leave 1 slime in the Tomb of Toonschleimen that used to actually be in the route as, like, our 50th slime, but we've since that ended up, because of some rerouting, ended up necessitating the trip back to Forwood Forest. Anyway, Hooli here suggests that, you know, the enemies have a crew, which means that we should be able to have our own crew. The 3 that we pick here, Hooli can fire himself out of a cannon to do damage, which is probably more useful than some number of things, even if his damage is really weak. Mother Gluperior, the nun slime, she can fire 1 piece of ammo out of the lower cannon, and then Baron Blubba has the unique property of being able to fire 3 ammo out of the top cannon. They're pretty slow, but you know, it's better than nothing. And you can set their tactics to do a couple of different things. Every crew member in this game has, like, a different thing that they can do while they are part of your crew. This area here is Mount Krakatroda, a reference to King Trode from Dragon Quest VIII. So that 1,000 weight here, anytime you throw it, it causes a shockwave that knocks anything around it upwards. This will actually break any destructible objects when they hit the ground. But they also are used to knock things loose a couple times here. And then we're also seeing Chimera Wings, which, you know, these are the, like, item that you use to, like, escape can't remember if it's escape encounters or escape dungeons in battle in Dragon Quest. But they're useful for like teleporting things. And the way they work in this game is if you throw them at something, while they are on the field, it automatically takes it back to town. In battles, if you use a Chimera Wing, it just sends it back to its own tank. So a little bit of interesting integration into this game system. All right, so my favorite little skip here. We call this Gooply skip. We're not doing it just yet, but keep that screen in mind. What Root's going to do is go around picking up a few slimes that are along the way. But you see here, there's this gate that needs a key. The key is off to the east, and there's a battle that you're supposed to do with Slivel. He has the key as well as a slime behind that boss fight, but we're actually going to skip that boss fight. And I'll explain how in a little bit. This bungee cord section kind of stinks. A little janky how it all lines up. But there's a slime at the end of here that we had to add into the route in order to make up for the
Oh!
yeah, the aiming of that is just
It's a miss.
the aiming of that is just it never feels consistent. That's why I said this part kind of stinks. But because we skip getting a slime that is normally story required, we had to pick up another one to make up for it. That's this fella. His name is Dummy. So we actually do need Chimera Wings for alchemy as well. So they are kind of nice to just... The fact that they send themselves back to town is just super nice. So the volcano here of Mount Krakatoa is actually like a gigantic like mechanism for alchemy. It's kind of the lore here. And that's kind of the theme here. So this is where we're going to pick up basically the means to do alchemy, which is going to be very useful. So what these NPCs, what this little tower here is you need to assemble like those three things in that specific order. So an imp, a bomb rock, and a 1000-weight. You need to kind of go around collecting them to get past that gate in order to fight the boss there. This is why this skip that we're about to perform is actually pretty significant. As Reef is just picking things up here, there is a very particular way that hitting this particular like spot on just this random fence activates the loading zone right above it, and you end up going to that loading zone at like coordinate. My hypothesis is that you hit it at coordinates that aren't navigable. So it bumps you up to the next screen above.
Breaches?
Yeah, so this is what we call a Gooply skip here. And I'll explain why that name is the way that it is. Yeah, so you just zoom 2 screens, and that gets you past the locked door. Just because of the weird way, like, just some collision for the loading zone just happens to be in that fence. It's just like some sort of programming quirk. And it just lets us skip in here and skip the Slivel fight. By the way, we also pick up a Slime Knight, and so now we are basically Zelda, or I guess Link from The Legend of Zelda. You can press the Y button and swing a sword whenever you have a Slime Knight on your head. So it was like many years ago, I was streaming this game as a D-Rust for a marathon, and a user by the name of Gooply, which is very funny given this is a slime-driven game, came into my chat and said that they were a really big fan of this game, spent an abnormal amount of time, and just kind of stumbled into that skip, having no idea what all the mechanisms were for it, and then was just like... And then was just like, yeah, I just kind of found this, just I played this game way too much, but I've wanted to tell a speedrunner about it for years. So in that screen, there's 3 living statues. You need to either fully charge an Elastoblast to actually be able to hit them, or you just throw Chimera Wings at him and send him to town, and that ends up being faster. So this enemy here is a Jar Dragon, and he's picked up the Alchemy Pot, or I believe the Crack Pot is what it's called. But this fella here is Potbelly, and this fight is also quite luck dependent because he's going to dig into the Alchemy Pot and try to grab whatever he can. And rock bombs are really nice because you can just chuck them, and they not only do they hit him, but when they explode on the ground, that is like a separate tick of damage. Oh, fire water. So yeah, he's just gonna run into the. He might just run into it himself. Yeah, so this fight is definitely a little bit luck dependent. A Chimera Wing is probably the slowest thing that he can put out. Banana Peels he'll just trip on, which is also fairly slow. Sometimes you might drop like things that heal your health that are also very slow. Chimera Wings are the slowest means of doing damage that you can throw at him. So Bomb Rocks are really the like optimal one. And here Reef is just bouncing it off of the wall to pick it up again. And so that is actually a fairly quick kill. So here we're taking the Alchemy Pot, aka the Crack Pot. And
Easy.
now what Reef's doing is just going in and grabbing the last few important things in the inventory. This NPC here is Prince Pigamy, and he actually gives you what is not just the shuriken, but the means to alchemize the shuriken, which doesn't really make a ton of sense just yet until you bring the Alchemy Pot back. But the recipe for shuriken is 2 treasure chests and 2 Chimera Wings, and we've been picking up a whole bunch of those along the way. Specifically for this moment, because a shuriken does 20 damage and it fires very fast, so it's a very solid piece of ammo. Here's a slime that we haven't yet saved because he was locked behind a boss fight that the game assumes that we had to do to make progress. But yeah, he's just chilling here. Here he gives us a recipe for Iron Shield. Not really that useful. But yep, so Reef has picked up enough to make 8 shurikens.
It's a Japanese culture shuriken.
Alright, so we know that we're on a good pace with slimes here because he has saved 39 coming into this area. He's manually removing the ammo because it's slightly faster than doing it. It's slightly faster than doing it, just doing it by auto and then menuing from there. But he's added the cruise missile that he's picked up because it's just really solid, fast damage. Hard to make. All of the shurikens he got, and then 1 Slime Knight, because Slime Knights, if you don't have bomb rocks to just chuck at the enemy barriers, Slime Knights are really effective for breaking down barriers because you just swing them like a sword.
Dear boo.
So the Platypunks have noticed that we've been messing around with things, and they say, hey, we have your little sister, Bo, and tell us to come to this place called the Backwoods, or else. They write it like a letter, as if it's like, big bro, come help me, but they clearly don't know how she talks, and they talk like jerks because they're jerks, and this game is very silly. So the thing about the Backwoods is that this entire area revolves around tank battles. There are these 2 or 3 two-tail, like kind of boss enemies that each run their own little tank battles. And you need to fight all 3 of them to clear the path to the main boss of this area. Of course, there are still a couple of slimes that we can pick up here. And then he has 1 extra chest if he wants to go alchemize another shuriken. And once again, when you enter a tank battle, it's considered a cutscene that advances things. So as long as he doesn't throw them, they'll automatically be sent back to town as soon as he enters this battle. This tank here is called Carrot Top. different tanks actually have their own different gimmicks, not just their own like unique layouts, but they that particular one, you can actually press a button and it will fire that horn on its head at you. And that does like a bunch of damage and just clogs up your tank. So he set Huli to just kind of mess around in the enemy tank. And what he's doing is he's picked up the 2 members of his crew that can throw ammo, and he's just kind of holding them on his head because what he wants to do is purposefully drop his health down to 0. Because when your health is 0, the enemy does not fire ammo at you. Also, we have 100 HP and enemies do a lot of damage, so they usually will take out 100 HP if you're max health pretty quickly. Other than that, he's been making use of the fact that he has destructible ammo and just kind of cycling through his ammo so that the good stuff like the shurikens will spawn. And here he is just eliminating the enemy's boss, because the enemy's boss likes to make a beeline for your engine room. And now that the skies are pretty much clear of ammo, he can just basically have free reign to just chuck all the ammo that he's accrued and thrown into the engine room. And that is basically how we eliminate most of the luck factor to tank battles in this game. Just doing what we can to minimize the amount of ammo that is just in the sky. Part of the reason he sent Huli actually to the enemy tank as well is that when you have an ally that is in the enemy tank, they're really good at distracting enemies, and we don't want them to get into our engine room. They tend to move pretty slowly once they get into our engine room, and they're really easily distracted. But the only way to lose a tank fight is if the enemy gets all the way to your engine in the back. And so sometimes you just want to just beat them up to cause them to basically... once you hit them enough, they disappear, and then they respawn back in their own tank. So this is just kind of the way to eliminate enemies as a a threat to your tank combat. Something to mention, actually. Oh, he's 1 damage short. When you can pick up enemies, but when you're in a tank battle, you can only hold them on your head for so long. If otherwise they kind of just like bounce off and you lose control for a second, and you kind of don't want that. So you're just making good use of the Slime Knight to break down these barriers. And that's the first of the 4 tank battles that we're going to be doing here in the backwoods. That is a longsword. Those do 28 damage. They're pretty solid. Anyways, be prepared to meet some of your favorite slimes. The 3 slimes here we save are, they're all like themed after like, they're kind of like Bushido. They have their own little headbands. We have 1 slime named Bushido, 1 slime named Gusashi, and 1 slime named Tokyo Tom. In fact, the Japanese name is still, I think, Tommy. the pyramid maniac doesn't fight Pharaoh. There's so many just silly puns in this game, and I love it. So yeah, the strategy here, second verse, same as the first. Just throwing his allies out of the tank to minimize the chance of them throwing ammo. And then just kind of doing whatever. It's a little bit... I said second verse, same as the first. This is a little bit different how things work. Okay, actually, I'm used to doing these things in a little bit of a different order. My mistake. Anyways, the enemy here actually has these weapons called spooklier bombs. And the gimmick behind them is that only very specific types of ammo can actually intercept them. Which works out for us because they don't block our ammo. And this tank only has 200 HP, so... He's basically just doing the damage himself at this point. I like that there's an NPC named Dracky Dan. I have a good friend named Draco Dan who ran at Limit Break last year, and it's just that name always reminds me of him. So now he's just done enough damage. He doesn't even need to wait till his HP runs out, because this enemy's HP is so low, and the Spooklier bombs just like aren't tangible, so they don't really mess with you. This is actually a slightly annoying thing about this game. Certain tank layouts actually have like a fake out, so you'll break one side of the barriers and then find out, oh, that was the fake one. The other one was the real one. Reef thankfully has them memorized, which tanks are top and which ones are bottom, but just another little thing you have to kind of keep track of. Luigi's doing a very tiny optimization there by approaching the treasure chest from the bottom, so that like Rocket or Squall 3 moves slightly slower, or slightly less distance because he's moving slower.
Oh.
Oh. I guess it just accidentally canceled. So Chrono Twigger. Here is your Chrono Trigger reference of the run, or of the event. So once again, this enemy has actually pretty low health, so doesn't have to worry about things too bad. Intentionally destroying his own destructible ammo so that only like the good stuff spawns a lot quicker. And then when when the skies are clear, once again, you're just gonna like unload all of the like ammo that he's built up, because it just spawns so much faster. So yeah, this fight mostly plays out about the same as everything else. So yeah, if you got anything for us in Tara, this would be a good time. We're just kind of waiting.
I'm so mesmerized watching all these shurikens fly around. It's delightful. But while we're doing this tough fight, let's talk about some of the merch we've got. So we have a exclusive RPG Limit Break and Tantrum merch. It's now live in store. It's delightful. Shop the RPG Limit Break collection, including shirts, blankets, tote bag, and much more. And what's better, Tantrum merch will donate up to $5 per item sold to the National Alliance on Mental Illness and its mission. Grab your gear now at tantrummerch.com/RPG Limit Break. And Tantrum is spelled TANTRUM. So definitely you have to check those out. A lot of the designs this year are community sourced. When you go and click on the shirt, it will tell you who designed it, and we have such an amazing collection. I'm so proud of the work that the community has done. Definitely check those out.
There's been a lot of really cool merch. We have like a preview of a lot of it here at the events, like the desk that Tantrum merch has at our event here. And it's really cool, it's not even like, if you're the type who's like, you're not as big into like the really big RPGs like Final Fantasy, like there's still stuff like Breath of Fire here, like Breath of Fire 5. I'm not sure I've ever seen a shirt for that, and I know that game definitely has its fans. And I really like the shirt. I think Sid was wearing it actually during the run that he did last night.
I believe that. And it's one of the perks of having the Tantrum merch table there physically on site. You can see some of the merch in advance. But for those of us like me who are not on site, check out the website. Trust me, it is amazing.
Yeah, the designs are as good as advertised. I'll say that much, having seen them in person.
An embarrassment of riches.
So a little funny thing there. if you can't like use a rock bomb, you can just repeatedly throw a anything at the barriers in the engine room, which includes your crew. So it's just abusing the poor nun mother. Thankfully, because everything in this game is a slime, they all bounce. So I don't think that is a sin in the eyes of the great slime god.
I don't know if I want to test it.
She puts in the work. Like it is genuinely funny just how much it is. She is just straight up the like Dragon Quest equivalent of I'm a healer, but. Anyways, here we fight our first proper fight with Slivel in the run because we skipped the first one. Now Slivel is so badass. He pilots the Schwarzman tank, which is like the dark equivalent of the Schleiman tank, and he is so cool. He only has himself as a crew member, but of course he has quite smart AI. His attacks are kind of nasty, and he can lift 3 things on his head, which not every enemy can do. The thing is, because it's just him, he is really prone to AI manipulation. Because he aggroes onto you and he tries to hit you. And also he has really cracked ammo for this portion of the game. The one thing is he's so heavy because his thing weighs 10 slime tons that he drops like, I want to say like 5 frames after you pick him up. So you have to throw him immediately or he is just going to just disperse whatever's on your head and mess with you. He also just has really solid ammo. So the strat is really just to rob him blind and just take anything out of his tank that you can get. Huli is really nice here because Huli can just distract him. Like, you might not be able to win the fight, but, I mean, your allies respawn anyway. But yeah, so Reef here is taking this 3 ammo that does 48 damage, and then 4 long swords, which will combine for about 140-something. So a little bit overkill, but you kind of never know what your allies are going to do. Yeah, that's just basically more than enough to finish him off. Nice little thing, actually. You can repeatedly juggle an enemy with a Slime Knight, and that actually bounces them around. The one risk you run into with Slivel is that he can 2-shot your engine room. His first attack will break all of the barriers, and his second one will just kill your engine. One unfortunate thing, why you saw him throw the Slime Knight there, is that if the Slime Knight falls asleep, which it can kind of just do after just being on your head long enough, you can't use it, so you have to throw it and kind of refresh it, basically, to wake it up. But yeah, that's the Slivel fight. Fairly easy and self-explanatory. Drops an Orichalcum. Medium slow pace of fire, but does 30 damage. Anyway, here's here we finally save our sister. She's also very hungry. I can relate. There is a slight little optimization there, like part of why it's kind of nice that we don't have to save every slime tomb. You get that little cutscene of picking up the extra ammo as well. The clap trap is just an annoying little trap. It's not useful, but we have to save all 6 slimes in this area are just faster to save. The 3 Goonies here, what they want us to do is go to a place called Call My Bluff. They're also seeking a... Oh, no. The 3 Goonies is what they're called, actually. They're trying to get into their secret base, which is hidden in the well south of the castle. And that is what you need the 50 slimes for. So that's what all we've been doing. Unfortunately, there's no way to use the Gooply skip to, like, load past the thing that we would otherwise need, that we need to save 50 slimes for. So that is, like, kind of the white whale of this game, which we sadly have not yet found. In Call My Bluff, there's a thing that you need to go into the Goonies' hideouts to get an ability that we need to advance this area, and we need 50 slimes for that. So that's really why we've been doing that. And if we could find a way to skip past this one single barrier, it would basically change any percent forever and probably make it like more than half an hour shorter. There's 5 slimes that we can save in this particular section, and that's going to bring our total up to 50. I love the cute little sound effects, just like, thank you. Thank you. You can pick up alternatives or extra slime knights. We really only need the one. Also, all the slimes. They have such cute puns. I love it. There's so many cute little puns in this game. All right, so this area we have these crystals that we need something called the Master Blast to break, and we don't have that ability yet. So right as we get here conveniently, Big Daddy, our dad, and his wife, our mom, Mamma Mia, set themselves free. Big Daddy uses his Master Blast ability to break the crystal and basically set himself free. Unfortunately, Big Daddy throws out his back. I don't know how that happens, given he is a slime, but he needs us to learn the Master Blast for ourselves to do everything. The funny thing I want to mention in this game, so this game actually does have local multiplayer. You can play with other people who have this game and do tank battles. It is so much fun. You need to house rule it because there is some really giga-busted ammo, and one party member in particular, we kind of soft agree to ban because it just disrupts the game. He's so good, but having one on both sides effectively cancels each other out. But we also ban Mamma Mia because she can actually be thrown out of the cannon for 1/8 of your opponent's max health, which in multiplayer battles can be more than any piece of ammo in this entire game will do. So it is stupid. Anyways, the Goonians want us to do the Goonin trials to learn how to do a Master Blast. What any of this has to do with learning how to attack harder is anyone's guess. But yeah, there's 3 trials: the mind, the spirit, and the body, or rather, mind, skill, and body. And once you do all that, you just it basically empowers your Master Blast. Trial of the body is a joke. There's an American flag here with 42 fewer states. He's like, haha, gotcha. And then he just falls from the rafters. Like, oh no, you found me. Now you finished the trial. And here you need to heat up a bath by just repeatedly blasting all of these, anything made of wood in this room. This is this and the trial where you're supposed to hit the Goonin, as he's just kind of turning himself into a log and just running around the screen. Surprisingly hard to optimize. So here's slight optimization of just charging one of them to get close to the fire, so that when he throws it, it bounces one of them into the air. There's like too many. So yeah, it's just very nice little optimization there. So well done. And that is all the trials of the Goonians. So we now have the ability to blast masterfully. This isn't really, I don't think it really changes much other than like your fully charged animation. But the game realizes that it's a power-up, so it says, yeah, you can now break these crystals. So we do not need to save any more slimes in this game. The ones that we save are specifically because the thing that they give us is really good. Which is required. But like any of the optional ones we get is because they drop something really, really good. Alright, so we're back to Call My Bluff. going to just make our way to the top and then go and try and fight the boss. So Natara, this would be a good time.
Excellent. Also, we got to shout out the name of this zone. It's amazing. Love the puns. However, we also want to shout out to all the people involved in our foreign language restreams. Our French restream can be found at twitch.tv/LeFrench restream, and our Japanese restream at twitch.tv/Japanese_restream. If those restreams can help you better enjoy the marathon, please go check them out and send them some love. Now, talking about upcoming runs, we do have Final Fantasy VIII is coming up run after next. And we've got some incentives to meet. One of those incentives is we have concert music, which is played. So currently in the lead is an Irish pig at $8. Eyes on Me, the classic, $0. You can very easily change that by donating, just like our friend Windbliss, who donated $10, saying, couldn't be here to make a comment on the RPG liminal break because I was asleep during the Earthbound run. With Squall ending up witnessing Laguna's experiences, that's an RPG subliminal take. And I'm going to the future to save the past. That's an RPG temporal break. I'm not sorry. Thank you so much for that $10. We also have $15 from Infinity D4. Thank you very much.
All right, so we're coming up on the field boss of this area as opposed to the tank boss. And this guy's actually really tricky. His name is Harvest Loon. The reference should be fairly obvious. So the first phase, he's going to just throw out these three little sides at you. And if you time it just right, there is actually a way to get 2 hits off in there. But it's kind of timing-based and a little tricky. I think a lot of people don't realize is you can actually hit the scythe here to prematurely end that attack. So that's a little optimization that you can do there. Ideally, he doesn't use it too much. You'd like to be able to get multiple hits off in a row. And once you get him down pretty low, he's going to start doing an additional 3rd attack. But the overworld bosses in this game are quite simple, so. So you're just going to summon a bunch of these ghosts that you can just kind of ward off. Yeah, this fight's just kind of a little luck depending on when he attacks you with the attack that you can counterattack, but it's pretty simple. Ah, unlucky. And that's that. So he drops a unique item called the Hell Scythe. I'm not actually sure if you can get more than one of these. The Hell Scythe does 40 damage, but it has 2 unique properties. One of them is that it takes actually 2 pieces of ammo to intercept it instead of 1. The second of which is if you fire it out at the upper cannon, it actually goes over their tank, so it can't be intercepted after it's, you know, more than halfway on its trajectory. All right. So now that we have saved the Abbot, Flabbit Francisco, thankfully is fine and jovial. Once you've saved him, he says, "Hey, this town is, you know, we've saved half the slimes, but the town is like kind of all messed up. So we need to repair it." This is conveniently a like 90-second long cutscene with no text. So Reef is going to go take a break because this is the like one decent spot to take a break during the run.
Yeah, if I had to mash as much as he seems to be doing, I'd want a break now too.
Exactly.
That means I get to take over for some time. Welcome, everyone. We are watching Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime here at RPG Limit Break. And RPG Limit Break 2026 proudly supports the National Alliance on Mental Illness. To get involved in the fight against the negative stigmas around mental illness, please reach out to NAMI via their state-level organizations, on Facebook, where they can be found as NAMI, or on Instagram and X as @NAMICommunicate. Remember, it is not a weakness to need help. Please reach out if you feel like you need it. And organizations like NAMI really help out so much with things like that. And your donations help keep wonderful organizations like them funded. As we've been talking about, we have multiple runs coming up after this one. The next one is Get in the Car Loser, which thanks to your generous donations, that incentive for that game has already been met. So we're not worrying about that one. We're just going to chill and enjoy it when it comes. So we're back to the game though.
Yeah, so while we were off doing this, the Goonians were trying to scout off what the plans of the Plob were. And they uncovered an area called Flucifer's Necropolis, which is a very imposing name because it is literally the flute Lucifer and necro means death, so like death metropolis. So what they're trying to find is the antithesis to the warrior flute, which is basically Flucifer's flute, which summons the Dark One, a.k.a. Flucifer, a.k.a. Bad News. So they're desperately trying to uncover the flute, and we need to go and put a stop to that. These poor slimes. Thankfully, the funny thing is when you hit them, they just kind of just bounce up and they get kind of mad at you when you talk to them for a little bit, but then they're fine. Everything in this game bounces.
No.
Anyways, so we see this statue here. We need an imp and we need 2 bomb rocks. But the only 2 bomb rocks have been brought to separate areas of this map, which kind of turns this area into a puzzle. We need to find a way to get back here. But in this first area, we're gonna have to actually make another triple stack of 3, which is supposed to be a mimic, an imp, and like blanking on what exactly the third thing was. But you have to kind of go around and collect the 3. Yeah, an imp, a platypunk, and a mimic. And the one mimic happens to be over here. Sorry to that poor locked slime. We saved them in 100%. So we already know what it is because it's fixed every playthrough, even though the statue's broken to try and like conceal information from us. But now we don't have to worry about these enemies here. So if he ever needs to get rid of something on his head, he actually will chuck it in the middle of the Elastoblast animation. He's making one quick detour here for this particular slime because of a really, really nice thing that he gives us. So you have to kind of figure out the little puzzle of the waterways there. So you can do a fully charged Elastoblast here, and the optimal thing to do is let the cart push you, and then wait until you know you have enough distance to cover it with a fully charged Elastoblast. Alright, so that's the first area basically taken care of. He'll come back and grab the second bomb rock whenever he needs to. Going straight into the menu, and that is the equipment, that is why he picked up the catnip this entire run. The lightning staff is the most broken thing in this entire game that you will have access to in the speedrun. And in fact, if you know what you're doing, it is arguably one of the most broken things in the game. For local multiplayer, it kind of is like limited to knowledge, but the AI doesn't really understand quite how broken the lightning stabs are. So helps with the speedrun. Shoutouts to Karul, a Dutch speedrunner, mainly known for like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and a few other things. Surprisingly, I don't believe this game ever actually released in Europe, but he played it at some point anyway, and found a very small optimization on this particular screen with elastoblasting across those platforms, because I used to just jump. Alrighty, hole in one. You can jump right out of that. If you time it too late or too early, you'll just bounce on the well and lose a couple seconds. But if you jump at the right time, you'll just bounce straight into the well. So. Bit accidental there. Gonna take the bomb rock, grab the pixie, grab the other bomb rock. And then now that completes the statue to unlock the way to the end of the necropolis. And conveniently, it's 2 more bomb rocks. There you got the little loading zone bounce. So picking up one of these devil tails, because it is a requirement for making the lightning rod. But in order to get the access to the boss, we need to fight Slivel again, which, although he has more health and better ammo, his AI is just as breakable as ever. I think he moves slightly faster with each fight afterwards, but like, he's kind of a chump if you actually know how to exploit him. So, Mr. Oh, unfortunate. Getting intercepted out of midair. He thinks he can do everything himself. Anyways, so he's just going to kind of break up the gate here. Wait till he runs out of health. That big sword that he fired is a Metal King sword. That does 80 damage. The other sword, am I blinking on? I don't know. I don't know what the type of sword is, but the name of the sword is a bastard sword. Those do 60. So yeah. Oh, that's okay. Good. It didn't fall into the cannon. It's just the one thing he wants to avoid. Yeah. Those shields, they're those little glass mirrors. They're called mirror shields, and what they do is reflect one piece of ammo. Like right back at whoever fired it. But if they get it all the way across, they only do 1 damage. Yeah, so now he's just basically waiting for Slivel to finish him off, because now he is a load of 460 damage. Oh, no. Oh, that's tragic. Oh, that was so close. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Oh. So he just threw out a Metal King shield, which blocks 5 pieces of ammo. That is literally the worst thing that could have happened there, unfortunately. Yeah, so now he's just basically throwing all the like worthless pieces of ammo into Slivel's back room, where he really hardly ever goes. Oh. Wow, Slivel is not giving, not cooperating here. Yeah, so he knocked Squall 3 into the into the cannon. So you just have to kind of sit there and wait for you to just fly all the way across. Yeah, this is a very unlucky and very slow Slival fight. Unfortunate.
Okay. Okay.
The good news is he will not fire any more ammo now that his HP is dropped. So really making sure they drop Slival the second that he picks him up. That should be enough hits to finish him off. So that is 220 damage worth. That should do enough to finish.
Yeah.
Just a very unfortunate Slival fight. And then here Huli is once again being the...
Yeah.
the buddy. And just messing with Slival's AI as much as possible. Because what you really just never want to have happen is Slival rushing your tank down. Luperior here just happens to be picking up a rock bomb, which will help break down Slival's barrier. So it'll help save a little bit of time. Yeah, that was a very unfortunate Slival fight. Like, that could have been really, really good. And then that one Metal King seal just absolutely took it down. Important note, you can't actually throw ammo at the engine. You have to elastoblast it. In case you were ever wondering. Alrighty, so that's going to allow us to go fight the field boss of this area. Inside we have the queen, who is her royal wobbliness, and she is also quite badass, and just walks herself home, as opposed to needing to take the minecart. Like, picking up one more devil tail here to bring it back. Unfortunately, you can't take anything with you into boss arenas, so. So here we have this absolute behemoth of a creature, Lickety Spit, and he also has a bunch of cacti balls, the one thing that can defeat him just there. So the trick that you do is you get right up near his tongue and cause the 4 cacti balls to just jump onto his tongue. And he just eats them, and that's just what damages him. Yeah, this fight's just kind of really simple. It does get a little tricky when he summons these, cacti tentacles out of the ground. Vines, I guess. But, yeah, quickly getting out of the way and then just... Oh, that's just overkill. So that was probably, like, the cleanest boss he's had since the first one. So very, very nice.
Bye, slime. Oh, sorry.
Just ignored. You'll notice that a bunch of money dropped. There is a shop in this game. It doesn't give you many things. Most of the best things in this game you get by alchemy. And there are some useful things that you can only obtain in the shop that help for alchemy, but it doesn't matter for story. Anyways, this is the princess, Gluttonella. And she, as her name suggests, she's just straight up eating all the food in the it's called the Flying Clotris. It is the Big Bad's lair. And it is basically going to be the final dungeon of the game. So here we just see it flying into the fold. So we need to go and storm the Big Bad final hideout. We got a little bit of time, so Natara, take it over, or take it away.
I'll take it over and take it away. You can't stop me. So we have a $20 donation from Phelan. Thank you so much. And that went towards our Fighting the Steel Guardians in Final Fantasy VIII. So as a reminder, for every
Trying
$2
twice.
For every $250 we earn towards that, we will fight another Seal Guardian. So currently we are $10 away from our third Seal Guardian. So for only $10, we will fight 3 Seal Guardians in Ultimatia's palace. We absolutely want that. And anything we can get towards that is another Seal Guardian, makes the the game longer. All about this.
So this NPC here it's kind of scripted that you have to save him and send him back to town, and that just instructs you on how the minecarts of the flying Clotris work, which is that they're like jet powered or rocket powered.
The next tank battle is lightning stuff is.
So this slime here, the curator, well, first of all, oh no.
Oh!
So you can just throw a thing to break all the barriers, or to break all the machines there, and that's how you break down those barriers. The curator actually has the most valuable piece of mail in the entire game, and that is he just gives you a lightning rod outright, which, as I mentioned earlier, are very broken. Unfortunate. Well, and by the way, here's a free golem. You just control a golem, and you can just rocket punch or propel punch things, and it is really funny. You also need it to break down these spikes on the floors here, and also engage in Rock'em Sock'em robot fights with other golems. We don't need to do that because we already have one, so we're just going to take it by. We need it to break these wooden barriers, and he aligns so that like one diagonal punch will clear through like that first set. A little bit of movement optimization tech here. For as much randomness as there is in like tank fights in this game, you want to minimize randomness as much as you can for everything outside of tanks. So, one more NPC, and this warp here is going to allow us to head back to town. Make sure you don't mash. You wouldn't accidentally say no, because if you say no there, you get launched off the platform, and you have to wait for it to come all the way back.
Devil's Tail.
So, one more Devil's Tail.
Lightning stuff.
More Devil's Tail, one more Lightning Rod, and a BS Cruise Missile too, which fires fast and does 52 damage. All very nice. So, went back in to pick up some ammo, but really wanted to make another lightning staff in the alchemy pot here. So that says damage 40. That is a lie. That is a total and utter lie, and I will explain once we get to some of the combat in the final dungeon. But the lightning rod is the most busted thing against the AI in this game. Also convenient, different crew members. You can actually bring the Goonies here. So he's going to remove everything that isn't breakable at a Slime Knight, the lightning rods, the Hell Scythe, and just one one obelisk. And so yeah, now everything he has is a Slime Knight, a missile that does 52 damage, a whole bunch of stuff that breaks, and then 2 lightning rods. And the reason that we have so much breakable stuff is really just those 2 lightning rods. So making our return trip back to the Clotris. Now that we basically have our, pretty much our final loadout for the rest of the game. I love the sprite animations in this game. Rocket is just such a fun protagonist to move around, and his animations are so good. This is why I it makes me sad whenever I hear someone say that they think, sprite-based games are simple, primitive, or too old-fashioned. I'm like,
It's dangerous.
Good pixel art is timeless.
Absolutely. And like this pixel art, I went from not being interested in this game, like never had heard of it, being like, I need to play this. This is perfection.
It's so cute. It's so charming. Like I've said, like I know a lot of people who like they never got really into Dragon Quest games that fell in love with this particular game. And some of that is it plays so radically different, but like it's still so charming to it. Anyways, this battle here is against an enemy called the Argonaut. That axe that it has, you'll see it slowly lift up. That can intercept ammo once it comes down. So kind of want to make sure that you're not firing any really valuable pieces of ammo while that's happening. But it used to be kind of like a just an annoyance you had to sometimes like deal with / occasionally like work around. But with the new lightning rod strat, which is like relatively recent, you don't have to worry about it as much. So the enemy has a lot of damage, and older routes actually, what they would do is go into the enemy tank and just steal their ammo, because it was just so much better than anything we have access to. Like the level 3 BS cruise missile does like over 100 damage. It's enough to finish us. So he's making extra sure that Blubba does not accidentally throw the...
Oh! Oh! I lost. Lost.
So this living armor...
Thank you, gift. Nice gift.
So this living armor here, you have to hit it once with a fully charged Elastoblast. I think he's looking for the lightning rod and just missing it. So there's a strat with the lightning rods that is gonna break the ending of this game. But he really wants to find that second one.
Okay.
There it is. Good. Took a little while to find, but
You're late.
so here's what's gonna be what breaks this game with the lightning rods. The lightning rod is designed to strike wherever it lands. If you fire it out of a cannon, it is going to land in their engine room and just do damage over and over again. It will strike for 40 damage. It's designed to go off like a max of 3 times, but if you hit it right as it strikes while it's in the glowing white animation, it resets infinitely. It doesn't ever break. So yeah, the lightning is just going to repeatedly rain down ticks of 40 damage over and over, and he's going to try and strike it so that they sync together and they strike both times at the same time. So that is just using lightning to summon the power of weather. And we here at Denver, who have been dealing with random intermittent thunder all week, can definitely relate. But yeah, so 2 lightning rods will just do 80 damage every like 10 seconds. And that is just pretty efficient damage. He got really unlucky with lightning rod spawns. So I think between that and the Slival fight, there is a good chance we go a little overestimate. But the run is otherwise still like intact, going fine. It's just been like a series of like unfortunate bad luck that's kind of hard to work around. For reference, I believe record for this category is like a 155, 40, 42 or 47 by Chamigane, who, when I first saw his run, I was just like blown away when I saw, because he did a run for I think one of the online RTA in Japan marathons that just the like he did like optimizations where he would like knock something in the air and then prime his Elastoblast so that it would fling into the air, land on him, and then when he like once it did, he would then Elastoblast for movement. It's like these tiny little time saves from just repeated movements that you do throughout the game that just add up to save like a lot more time than I ever thought was possible. when I, you know, back in the day was routing this game.
2, 3, 4, 5.
So this fella here is a killing machine. He actually brought in one of those little jinxes to throw at it for the final hit to, like, not have to fully charge a blast, saving, like, a few frames. But, yeah, any little bit of time save you can get. All right, so this is fight number 2 of their 5 tank battles in this area. So once again, going to use the strategy with the lightning rod, and also see if you can't pick up any decent ammo along the way.
Oh!
So yeah, there are the Goonies as tank crew. I guess this route doesn't actually use them. We've gone through a lot of different routes of this game, so yeah. So the big 3 components are the 2 lightning rods that we're trying to clear through our breakable ammo to spawn the lightning rod quicker, and then 1 slime knight because that can be used to sync up the lightning rods.
No, 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 no.
All right. So now he has basically the combo that he needs to just finish off the enemy as fast as possible. And because he has things on his head, he doesn't have to worry about he doesn't have to worry about like picking things up whenever he has 3 things on his head. So having to be a little careful dealing with this enemy. Yeah, this game kind of does turn into a little bit of a mess sometimes when you're dealing with clearing out enemies to prevent them from getting to your tank. This is kind of the name of the game. So actually, a thing you might have seen if you were paying attention to the top screen is a lightning rod actually got into the enemy's thing there, but we only have 2 lightning rods in our ammo inventory. The reason for that is that we have cycled out every other piece of ammo.
Oh!
Oh, unfortunate. He wasn't able to keep the infinite up. Thankfully, these 2 level 3 Irida balls do a ton of damage, so that should work as a decent enough backup. Just making sure he clears out the enemies, because the killing machines just kind of have really annoying animations to try and clear out your tank.
Yeah, so fast.
Yeah, so now he has enough damage to secure the kill.
Okay.
He just needs to make sure that he doesn't let any of them into his engine room and should be fine.
Ah!
So these knights, if you hit them from the front while they have their hit them while their shield is deployed, are annoying. But if you hit them from behind, you can bypass their shield and it drops it. God, the killing machines look so funny in this game. We haven't mentioned his name, but if there's one thing I will say that like people really don't give Akira Toriyama, the Dragon Quest artist, probably more known for Dragon Ball Z in the West, but he did the art for Dragon Quest, including the designs of the slimes and various enemies in these games. And the thing I think that people don't give him enough credit for, his mech designs are so good. Like, I love the designs of his enemies, and his mech designs in particular are super memorable. It's how you end up with characters like Robo from Chrono Trigger, or just any of the various machines you'll see in, like, Dragon Ball, or any of the other things he's worked on. So here, just using the various different things that he picks up to like chuck at these machines, because it's going to break all of them in a sequence. And it's just fast. Actually, I haven't even mentioned this, but like, if you Elastoblast and then throw something, it throws it farther than it would otherwise. You might have noticed, but if that isn't already obvious, then that's how that works. more little golem section here. Or spike section with a golem. I love this little voice line.
Where's war name?
Holy smokes! In Japanese, they just shout, Moja! Alrighty, so the third of our fights here against Hollow Kitty. There's so many puns, I love them. And its tank is Demolition Man. Alright. I don't believe the chainsaw works the same way as the axe of the previous fight. It's just there for intimidation factor. But yeah, so the strat here is similar to the strats of the first two fights. Just try and get Lightning Rod as quickly as possible. Try to keep your allies from... Whoops. Try to keep your allies from accidentally chucking the Lightning Rod into the cannon.
Nani?
Ooh. Very
buddy! Oh, buddy!
Oh, nice. So the enemy fired himself out of the cannon. And this is actually, like, kind of decent. Because you can actually, like, not have to worry about clearing the enemies along the way as much, or at least immediately. Yeah, he's really trying to use the stacks of the two lightning rods here. And then when they start glowing like black and white, there is the kind of the indicator that it's in the middle of its strike animation, and it is going to break if he waits too long. So it is kind of a little bit of a precise timing. But he's basically just doing this to infinitely stack the lightning rod until eventually the enemy just runs out of HP. So two more hits, and then I think the BS cruise missile will do the rest. Or no, it's 50. It's just, okay, good enough. Yeah, the ammo in this tank is like, the level 3 Roto Ball is like 110 damage. The Meteorite is 90, and it fires faster than anything else in the game. There's also an item called a Kafrizzle, which when it lands in the enemy tank, it just rains fire down. The enemy ammo in this part of the game is just not fair compared to what we have access to. You eventually get access to it in the post-game, and you can even use it for local multiplayer. As I mentioned earlier, local multiplayer in this game is surprisingly fun. You do need to house rule ban some things because some of it is really busted. The ammo that you just actually got there is called the Kaboomamite, and it does absurd amounts of damage if you can actually get it to land. The problem is it destroys any ammo that comes behind it for a little bit. So, high risk, but really effective piece of ammo. All right, so we need to take out 10 killing machines, which is just really funny. We need to defeat all of these robots, on the field. There's no way to send them back to Slimania. You can kind of get them to defeat each other, funny enough, if you cluster them together. But yeah, trying to optimize this portion is kind of a giant pain. Something I haven't even touched on is when you kill an enemy on the overworld, it has a random chance to drop a one of those bags, the question mark bag. And some of those can have some really nice things in them. We don't use them in the run, but they are useful for collecting for alchemy for post-game stuff and multiplayer stuff. So that's all the killing machines down. And now we are coming up on the final, I guess, 2 bosses of the game. There was one final match with Slival, and you need him to get the key to the Plob Godfather, Don Clawleone. Yes, there's Godfather references there. To get to his room and finally confront the big bad once and for all. So, again, Slival, a lot of HP, fights you by himself, which is not a very advised strategy. Getting some very quick spawns on the lightning rods here, so he's able to just get his combo going extremely quickly. And because it's just Slival that he needs to put up with, and Slival has very predictable AI, it's not really going to have to worry too much about being retaliated against. So yeah, while we're just kind of waiting for Slival's HP bar to slowly descend, Nitara is probably going to be about the best last time that you're going to get for the rest of the run.
Well, any chance to disrespect Slival is good on me. We have $10 from Mizuki Bara saying, more Final Fantasy VIII? Let's go. Come on, chat. Let's start a dono train and meet these incentives. And just so y'all know, FF8 is not the next run. It is the run after next. So we have about an hour and a half, 2 hours until that run. So a dono train now is actually ideal. $5, $10, anything you can manage will help get us towards those incentives. We have $25 from Chris J. And we also have $25 from Eric's33. Thank you so much to both of you for that.
You know, I said this was going to go over estimate, but the way some of these later fights have gone, I think we might actually end up coming just under. It'll be about, yeah, 205 is a pretty good one for this. Anyways, now he gives us the key because for everything, Slival is a good sport. Eventually. Once he finally respects us for all the different times we humiliate him. Alrighty, so on to one Mr. Don Clawleone, who has like 7 tails. The whole story here is just kind of funny. The princess ate all of his food and is asking for more. And he's just like, what am I going to do with you? No, sorry, 6 tails. I misremembered. Anyway, she just goes running off looking for food, and he's just like, I'm tired of dealing with her. You know this guy's badass when he summons a minion just to help put out his cigar. Anyways, after a certain point, he finally becomes vulnerable. That's why he waited to charge the attack. Every one of his attacks, he's going to retaliate with like a saw blade there. So this is phase 1 of the final boss. Phase 2 is going to be a tank battle, but it's going to be a little interesting, I'll say that. Kind of wants to be careful for this part and not spend too long charging because the tiny little platypunks that he summons, they can kind of latch onto you and prevent you from like kind of cancel your Elastoblast as you try and charge it. So that's phase 1 of the fight. Now he just uses this rod that turns him into a dragon, and he is vulnerable while he moves around the arena. So you can kind of like manipulate it to where you can get some hits in at the right time. And yeah, oh, this is going so well. Oh, this is maybe the cleanest I've ever seen this fight. Oh, almost with that. That was almost like a perfect fight. Okay. So now we're coming up on phase 2. Anyways, the princess found the dark flute that they uncovered from Flucifer's necropolis. Is like, I'm gonna blow the flute because you won't give me more food. It's like, please don't. And she's like, I'm gonna do it. And then she does it. And then that summons the dark one, Flucifer, and he takes possession of Claudione. And that means that he can summon his giant dragon tank for which just absolutely obliterates us. Because our tanks stand no chance against it, even on this giant fortress. And all hope seems lost. But conveniently, the 2 tanks happen to fall directly into the mouth of Mount Krakatoa, which, being the volcano of alchemy, the source of alchemy, can perform an alchemic miracle. And the crackpot, which is, by the way, sentient, can activate the alchemy functions of the volcano and combine our 2 tanks. And this is going to be what allows us to fight the final boss, the Dark One. I know I said the last one, so I'll give you... You got like 20 seconds, Natara, if you want to read any last things before we get to the final boss.
I always want to read more things. So I talked about that we have a choice between music between Irish Jig and Eyes on Me for the concert music. Well, we also have an incentive where we can sing Eyes on Me. Our runner for FF8 will sing that. So we have $436 out of 1,000. We can absolutely make that. We want to hear that sung. I have faith in you all.
All right, so the thing about this fight is now that our tanks have fused, we now have the Gottschleimen tank, the Gottschleimen tank. And the Gottschleimen tank is fixed at 1,000 HP. You cannot invade the enemy tank here, which I don't know what his name is offhand. So we're really just taking Schleivel to keep him from accidentally throwing the lightning rods. He is our only crewmate for this fight. Now, this fight is really, really obnoxious for a couple of reasons. The first of which is the ammo that he unloads on us is disgusting. The second of which is he will start charging a laser, and you have to hit it with like 10 pieces of ammo to prevent it from firing, and it nullifies your damage. The only time he will stop firing on us is when we run out. This fight used to take a long time because we tried to like prep things, intentionally run out of HP, and then start unloading once he will stop retaliating. But because of this lightning rod strategy, we actually have a consistent means to deal damage now, which turns this fight from like 8 minutes into like 4 or 5. So Claudione here is going, or I guess Flucifer, is going to try and come after us. You cannot pick him up. His AI is like very peculiar. It's set to attack Rocket. And that's actually huge. We used to think that, like, because the thing is, if he ever gets into your engine room and attacks, he will kill you in one shot. Like, he just straight up destroys all of your barriers and kills your engine in one go. The thing is, his AI is programmed to target Rocket, or Squall 3 in this case, and he will actually lock onto you. So even though he could end this fight by just going over to your tank, he wants to run Rocket's HP out. We didn't know this for many years, and we were always terrified, because the thing is, you tend to be in your tank trying to fire your ammo. And if he ever goes into the engine room and attacks, like, that kills you. So you want to go in the engine room to, like, try and stop him. But as it turns out, it's actually optimal to just let him aggro onto you and never go into your tank. So Schleivel over there is just chucking away ammo. There's nothing to stop him. And then we just have these 2 lightning rods dealing 80 damage every 8 seconds. And Flucifer's AI is just programmed to try and kill us, and we know how his AI works. Slime Knight just has really good effective attacks, so we're not really in much danger. So this fight went from the scariest thing in the game that we planned the entire route into a relatively simple fight. Actually, I might have misspoken. I think we are, in fact, going to come just barely under estimate. So that's actually really a really good recovery for how unlucky some things went in this run. So again, go through our shoutouts. Huge shoutouts to Dragon Quest Rocket Slime speedrun scene, which has not been like a huge scene, partially because DS capture is just so hard to get going sometimes. But shoutouts to Reef, has really been working on this run. I'm so happy to see this game in. Fun fact, he actually bought my copy of this game that I had for many years. We did a transfer via Tonkatsu, a good friend of ours who ran at AGDQ, and I met and we did an exchange. So this is technically my copy of the game from years back, sold to Ref. It is now his. So shout outs to like Sarcastic Friend, Purple Toki, Chamagane, Kurul, just everyone who's come along and helped this game get really fast. The people who worked on it, SDA, and time is coming up, and time. 2:03:58, very nice. Yeah, 10 years ago, I was looking for any information I could on how to run this game. There was an old SDA thread. I incorporated everything that I could out of it into a route, and then 10 years later, this run has gone from like a shade under 3 hours to under 2 is the world record. So here we are at the very end of the run. Unfortunately, we don't get the credits because we haven't saved all the slimes, but we do get one really funny little final cutscene here where we find out that the reason why the big bad of this game was looking for the flute was because some really hot platypunk that he was like had a massive crush, some celebrity had a massive crush on, just thought like, oh, it would be hip and chic to have a warrior flute. So he's just looking after it to impress a girl. And then he watches television and she's like, I want these like fancy underpants now. It's like, I got to get these fancy underpants. So that's how silly this game is. But yeah, that's Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime. I hope you all enjoyed. Reef, do you have any final words?
Oh, thank you. Well, estimate 間に合ってよかったです。Sorry. Sorry.
It's good.
I'm
You
not
did great.
English.
You did great.
Yeah, great lines.
Yeah.
So thank you for GhostKumo.
You're very welcome, Reef. Thank you very much for showcasing this game. Thank you all for watching. This is our first showcase of a Dragon Quest game at this event, but we have something like 18 hours more Dragon Quest between Dragon Quest 8 and Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined. So if you're looking forward to more slimes, there'll be plenty more in those runs. But next up, we have Get in the Car Loser by Dragon Dart here. So thank you all so much.
Okay, and it sounds like we almost have enough Dragon Quest on the schedule, but for now, we're closing out on that. And as said, get ready for some Get in the Car Loser by Dragon Dark. That'll be coming up. But for now, I am going to be leaving you. I have been Natara. Up next on the host mic is the Immaculate Stump. What a good friend. What a good host. Y'all are going to have a great time. We will see you again super soon. But for now, please enjoy some ads.
Welcome back to RPG Limit Break 2026, live from Denver, Colorado. My name's Stump, and I'll be your host for this next run. And thanks so much to our previous host, Natara, for that great intro and for wonderful hosting during that run. Our next run coming up in a little bit will be Get in the Car Loser, any percent no DLC with Dragon Dark. But for now, let's just talk a little bit about why it is that we're here. RPG Limit Break 2026 is raising money for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI was formed in 1979 as a grassroots advocacy organization by a group of parents whose children suffered with serious mental illnesses, and they have maintained that focus to this day. In an effort to support the mission statement of NAMI, we would like to encourage our viewers in chat and our donors to avoid using mental health-related pejoratives when describing situations that are extraordinary. These include terms like crazy, insane, mental, nuts, bonkers, and similar. We ask you to be mindful of the specific language you use, as many people do not realize these are pejoratives. Instead, consider substituting them with words such as amazing, ridiculous, wild, or bananas. We greatly appreciate your cooperation with this and hope that you can carry this forward in your everyday lives.